Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know?
So aliens are real?
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake.
And is there a specific message that comes through when you've been in contact with these orbs or with these beings?
Here's what she said. She said, again, it's like she said in 2012. I hadn't thought about it since then. She brought it up. She said, when you see the missiles leaving Iran and Israel for each other, when you see them, and I could see in the vision the missiles coming from either direction. You know, she said, when you see this sign will be the sign that we're going to start coming into this world, and we're going to wake the people up, and we're going to stop this before it gets too far. We're not going to let the suffering of man become too great. And she said, on top of that, we're going to make miracles happen. We're going to expose all the darkness and the evil that's happening, the deception, she called it the deception, and bring about peace.
Wow.
And she told me that in 2019. And so I wrote that in my book. I said, when you see Iran and Israel begin to exchange missiles, then the phenomenon is going to come in and awaken humanity, and you're not going to do anything about it. You can tell the powers that be that they're going to come in and stop it. Carl said, oh my God, that would be catastrophic disclosure. I said, well, you need to tell them all. This is what she told me, and this is what's happening now. You see it. Just as soon as those missiles started, that was the beginning of the heavens forcing disclosure on us. That's why they're having to tell it. That's why they're telling it, because they're being forced to, or they're going to get caught in a big lie.
3 days ago, President Trump directed you to begin the process of identifying and releasing the UFO and UAP files. Did you ever think that you would be the Secretary of War in charge of potentially declassifying extraterrestrial life to the American people?
I did
and the
not.
world?
I did not have that on my bingo card at all.
And are you prepared to do that now?
Of course. I mean, we've got our people working on it right now. I don't want to oversell how much time it will take. Right? We're digging in. We're going to be in full compliance with that executive order. Eager to provide that for the president. So there'll be more coming on that as far as the process of what we'll do.
And what sort of time frame? Do you have any sense for how long this is going to take?
I don't have a time frame for you yet, but stand by. We'll get it for you.
And do you think aliens are real? Do you think aliens exist?
We'll see. I get to do the review and find out along with you.
He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it.
Chris Bledsoe's case, he's one who's having interactions with orbs on a continuous basis. It appears as if this is some form of communication that we don't understand, but he has a telepathic communication with them. Now, one of the things that they did, the program called Beyond Skinwalker Ranch has a set on Chris. Near the end, what they do, this really blew them away. David Broadwell, who was orchestrating this, got a hold of a guy, and they have a EEG helmet. They've got Chris outside. Chris is there. He's pointing to orbs that are moving around. They're photographing the orbs. The brain waves shift tremendously when he's doing this communication with the orbs.
What kind of communication is Bledsoe having with these orbs?
Oh, he calls them and sees them almost daily.
He calls them and they come in.
Yeah.
The lady explained to me that in April of 26, there would be an alignment where this star, which is a blue star, of Regulus appears on the horizon in front of the Sphinx, and it would be red.
And you know what? This is right.
That's what she said.
I've actually spoken to astronomers. This is the phenomenal thing about this.
Yeah, and she said it'll be red. And when that happens, it would mark a shift into a new knowledge, not an apocalypse. That's what she told me. It doesn't mean Jesus is coming back. There's a new knowledge that's coming. What is that? Is it under the pyramids they've discovered something? Is it the Hall of Records? Is it disclosure? 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear a voice. Woke me out of a dead sleep. And a real deep, manly voice that said, "Arise." And next thing I know, I'm led outside by these shadowy beings. And this is where I met the lady. She appeared.
Did she ever talk to you?
Yeah, she came at me like the wind. That was the weirdest thing, George, the wind. Physical. It was a physical thing.
Now, you tell me about this glow you say she had.
She was glowing this bluish white.
Like an aura?
Aura around her, but it lit the floor on the ground in about a 20-foot circle. Around her was this bluish lit area. And I'm on my knees, probably a good 8 feet from her at the furthest point. I couldn't reach and touch, but her feet were up about my chin. She's about 4 feet tall, 4.5 feet tall. And she looked at me and she said, "You know why I'm here. This is your burden you must bear. You got to tell what you know. And if you do, I'll help you. I'll help you take videos and film us, and I'll help you share our presence with other people." Here we go. Just come right over top. This is my pier. This is this solid object. I just walked out and asked for it to appear, and there it is. It's going right over the pond, totally silent. Now it's dimming down. Thank you. You can see it getting dimmer. Dimmer. There it goes. It just dimmed out. Thank you. It was amazing in that I asked for it to appear, and it did very brightly. Thank you, Lord. There was a being standing there from me to you away, probably 4 foot. I could have leaned over and touched it with my hand. It was 3.5 feet tall. It looked like a child, not like a gray alien you would think about. It was a little glowing, color of the moon, soft glow. 3.5 foot, looked like a 4-year-old child. Head and face was a little different. Definitely weren't human. Eyes were glowing red. They looked mechanical. When you look at them, they look like the little markers on a transfer truck. It had this triangle on its chest, glowing. I knew I was in trouble. The minute I saw it, now it's all happened so quick. I ran against that tree and I stopped myself. And I looked back and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And I said, I surrender. I mean you no harm. I'm sorry. I just knew I was dead. And I heard this voice say, "You don't understand. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to help you." The orbs appearing in my room, over my chairs, and flying through the house and stuff.
So you think you experience it more than anybody in the world?
I haven't seen anybody with the data I have. People are seeing it now, and I predicted that. In my book, you'll read where I wrote about a certain incident that was going to happen in the future, which was when Iran and Israel began to exchange missiles at one another. At that point is when these balls of light, these orbs, were going to start appearing and revealing themselves to the world. I wrote about that. And that was something I've talked about for 10, 12 years. And then look, last November.
If anybody can answer the question to these, to the questions to these sightings that we're having recently, especially with these drones and these orbs, it is Christopher Bledsoe, the man who wrote UFO of God. In his book, he also talked about prophetic comings and things that would happen in the war between Israel and Iran. And he mentions this in an interview.
I've been saying the whole time that these orbs are going to come and wake us up. And I even gave specific times that when that might happen, and that's when you see a war between Israel and Iran. I put that in the book. So what Bertie was saying about their alarm, they are really alarmed. The orbs, to me, they're angels to me. They're biblical, just like you said, Jim. They're magical beings. They don't breed like humans. They were created. They listen to our thoughts. I interact with them every day of my life. literally tens of thousands of bits of data and information from them.
And what he's referring to is they speak to him. He is telepathically communicating with these things. And, you know, there's not only good ones, but there are bad ones. And you wonder what their purposes are. There have been people, according to documentation, and people like David Grush that have been unalived and injured by some of these craft and some of these beings. But Bledsoe has been calling these things up. I mean, right anytime, anywhere. He even did it on the news. And this is one of the orbs that he called up that was over his pond on his property. Check this out.
There it is. It's going right over the pond. Totally silent. That's dimming down. Thank you. You can see it getting dim.
So, Chris, I want to ask you, do you believe these are spirits? So why is the term UFO involved? Just help me connect the dots here. Unidentified flying object, spiritual interactions, because you obviously would not be the first person that I've ever met that has claimed to have interactions with angels or demons or an invisible dimension, but you're now connecting it with a UFO. Help me understand that.
Well, when there's a reason I did that. I've studied this thing for the last 17 years with some of the best scholars out there. And going through the whole thing of what happened to me and still happening and the way it reacts, it's not I have seen mechanical machines. I have seen those. And it appears that these orbs can morph into those. They can do either one. So what I wanted to do is bring this front and center. Is the UFO that we're seeing, is it related to the biblical story? And a lot of people think it is. And the way it reacts, I tend to believe it's very closely related in some way. So they were UFOs. They were unidentified. And they took me and they brought me back. And I was calling out to God for help. And so that's the confusing thing. It responded in that manner to me, but it was unidentified. So I think the title's fitting, and I think there's going to be there's a need for a whole lot more study here to see what it is that we're dealing with. I can tell you this: I get thousands of emails, probably 5,000 this month, and everybody wants to tell me their story. And the majority of the people that write me tell me, 99% tell me, that when they started seeing lights in the sky, it was because of a trauma, a loved one passing away, mother, dad, child, and a whole lot more. So somehow or another is tied, Charlie, and I think it's going to take a lot more work to find out. But we're working on that. We're working.
So Chris, what are you still a Christian after these experiences?
Yeah, I'll never change.
So
in fact, I'm stronger than I ever was.
So then you believe that you are able to come in contact with angels? Is that?
I want to repeat this because it is vital that you hear this. Once before on your planet, the technology you developed was far greater than your ability to use it responsibly. You're approaching the same point in human history again. It's vitally important that you understand this. Your present technology is threatening to outstrip your ability to use it wisely. Your society is on the verge of becoming a product of your technology, rather than your technology being a product of your society. When a society becomes a product of its own technology, it destroys itself.
Why is that? Can you explain that?
Yes. The crucial issue is the balance between technology and cosmology, the cosmology of all life.
What do you mean, the cosmology of all life?
Simply put, it is the way things work, the system, the process. There is a method to my madness, you know.
I was hoping there was.
And the irony is that once you figure out that method, once you begin to understand more and more of how the universe works, you run a greater risk of causing a breakdown. In this way, ignorance can be bliss. The universe is itself a technology. It is the greatest technology. It works perfectly, on its own. But once you get in there and start messing around with universal principles and universal laws, you run the risk of breaking those laws. And that's a 40-yard penalty.
A major setback for the home team.
Yes.
So, are we out of our league here?
You're getting close. Only you can determine whether you're out of your league. You'll determine that with your actions. For instance, you know enough about atomic energy now to blow yourselves to kingdom come.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that. We're smarter than that. We'll stop ourselves.
Really? You keep proliferating your weapons of mass destruction the way you've been doing, and pretty soon they'll get into the hands of somebody who will hold the world hostage to them, or destroy the world trying. You're giving matches to children, then hoping they won't burn the place down, and you've yet to learn how to use the matches yourselves. The solution to all this is obvious. Take the matches away from the children, then throw your own matches away.
Well, it's too much to expect a primitive society to disarm itself. And so nuclear disarmament, our only lasting solution, appears out of the question. We can't even agree on a halt to nuclear testing. We are a race of beings singularly unable to control ourselves.
And if you don't kill yourselves with your nuclear madness, you'll destroy your world with your environmental suicide. You're dismantling your home planet's ecosystem, and you continue to say that you're not. As if that weren't enough, you're tinkering with the biochemistry of life itself, cloning and genetically engineering, and not doing so with sufficient care to have this be a boon to your species, but threatening instead to make it the greatest disaster of all time. If you are not careful, you will make the nuclear and environmental threats look like child's play. By developing medicines to do the work that your bodies were intended to do, you've created viruses so resistant to attack that they stand poised to knock out your entire species.
Hey, you're getting me a little scared here. Is all lost then? Is the game over?
No, but it is 4th and 10. It's time to throw a Hail Mary, and the quarterback is looking around for receivers in the clear. Are you clear? Are you able to receive this? I'm the quarterback, and the last time I looked, you and I were wearing the same colored jersey. Are we still on the same team?
I thought there was only one team. Who's on the other team?
Every thought which ignores our oneness, every idea which separates us, every action which announces that we are not united. The other team is not real, yet it is part of your reality, for you have made it so. If you are not careful, your own technology, that which was created to serve you, will kill you.
Right now I can hear some people saying, but what can one person do?
They can start by dropping that what can one person do stuff. I've already told you. There are hundreds of books on this subject. Stop ignoring them. Read them. Act on them. Awaken others to them. Start a revolution. Make it an evolution revolution.
Isn't that what's been going on for a long time?
Yes and no. The process of evolution has been ongoing forever, of course. But now that process is taking a new twist. There's a new turn here. Now you have become aware that you are evolving. And not only that you are evolving, but how. Now you know the process by which evolution occurs and through which your reality is created. Before you were simply an observer of how your species was evolving. Now you are a conscious participant. More people than ever before are aware of the power of the mind, their interconnectedness with all things, and their real identity as a spiritual being. More people than ever before are living from that space, practicing principles that invoke and produce specific results, desired outcomes, and intended experiences. This truly is an evolution revolution. For now larger and larger numbers of you are creating consciously the quality of your experience, the direct expression of who you really are, and the rapid manifestation of who you choose to be. That's what makes this such a critical period. That's why this is the crucial moment. For the first time in your presently recorded history, although not for the first time in human experience, you have both the technology and the understanding of how to use it to destroy your entire world. You can actually render yourselves extinct.
These are the exact points made in a book by Barbara Marx Hubbard called Conscious Evolution.
Yes, that is so.
It's a document of breathtaking sweep, with wondrous visions of how we can avoid the dire outcomes of previous civilizations and truly produce heaven on earth. You probably inspired it.
I think Barbara might say that I had a hand in it.
You know, you said before that you've inspired hundreds of writers, many messengers. Are there other books we should be aware of?
Way too many to list here. Why not conduct your own search and make a list of the ones that have particularly appealed to you and share that with others? I have been speaking through authors, poets, and playwrights from the beginning of time. I placed my truth in the lyrics of songs and on the faces of paintings, in the shapes of sculptures, and in every beat of the human heart for ages past, and I will for ages to come. Each person comes to wisdom in a way that is most understandable, along a path that is most familiar. Each messenger of God derives truth from the simplest moments and shares it with equal simplicity. You are such a messenger. Go now and tell your people to live together in their highest truth. Share together their wisdom, experience together their love, for they can exist in peace and harmony. Then will yours, too, be an elevated society, such as those we have been discussing.
So the main difference between our society and more highly evolved civilizations elsewhere in the universe is this idea we have of separation.
Yes. The first guiding principle of advanced civilization is unity, acknowledgement of the oneness and the sacredness of all life. And so what we find in all elevated societies is that under no circumstances would one being willfully take the life of another of its own species against its will.
No circumstances?
None.
Even if it were being attacked?
Such a circumstance would not occur within that society or species.
Well, perhaps not within the species, but what about from without?
If a highly evolved species were attacked by another, it is a guarantee that the attacker would be the lesser evolved. Indeed, the attacker would be essentially a primitive being, for no evolved being would attack anyone.
I see.
The only reason a species under attack would kill another would be that the attacked being forgot who it really is. If the first being thought it was its corporal body, its physical form, then it might kill its attacker, for it would fear the end of its own life. If, on the other hand, the first being understood full well that it was not its body, it would never end the corporal existence of another, for it would never have a reason to. It would simply lay down its own corporal body and move into the experience of its non-corporal self.
Like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, exactly. The writers of what you call your science fiction are often leading you to greater truth.
I've got to stop here. This seems directly at variance with what was said in Book 1.
What was that?
Book 1 said that when someone is abusing you, it does no good to allow the abuse to continue. Book 1 said that when acting with love, include yourself among those you love. And the book seemed to say, do whatever it takes to stop the attack on you. It even said that war was okay as a response to attack. And now this is a direct quote, despots cannot be allowed to flourish, but must be stopped in their despotism. It also says choosing to be godlike does not mean you choose to be a martyr, and it certainly doesn't mean you choose to be a victim. Now you are saying that highly evolved beings would never end the corporal life of another. How can these statements stand side by side?
Read the material in Book 1 again.
Closely. My responses there were all given and must all be considered within the context you created, the context of your question. Read your
President Barack Obama, Caroline, was recently asked if aliens are real. He says they're real, but he hasn't seen them. The president's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, told Miranda Devine of the New York Post that the president has a prepared speech on this issue that he prepares to deliver at the right time. Is that true? And does the Trump administration believe aliens are real?
Well, a speech on aliens would be news to me. That sounds very exciting, though. I'll have to check in with our speech writing team. And that would be of great interest to me personally, and I'm sure all of you in this room, and apparently former President Obama, too. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Are we talking about beings from outer space?
Do you think there are such beings?
Well, yes, I do. You even told me there were. We had a long discussion about them from chapter 16 to the end of Conversations with God, Book 3.
And what did I say there?
You said that there were many advanced civilizations in the universe. Not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands. You spoke extensively about what you called highly evolved beings, for which we actually created an acronym, HEBS, H-E-B-S. And you described most of the underpinnings of life in highly evolved societies.
Remember that you said this, because it's going to play a role in where we go later in this dialogue.
Let me introduce you to Chris.
Okay.
Because that guy sees it all the time.
I want to go see some things.
Yes.
Hi. He says you can show me something.
Well, I think we can try.
We actually saw some orbs last night over the Capitol.
You guys saw orbs over the Capitol last night?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, right here. He's going to show
What?
you. He's going to show you.
That's right.
We
ask it to come, and it did, I think, about 7 or 8 figure 8s right over the
You asked it to come.
Well, we pray. We pray.
He does that all the time. This
Right,
is his job.
right.
Chris is the leading observational scientist in terms of seeing these orbs.
Yeah.
He's seeing this on every other day type basis.
So how does it work? How do you call him?
Through prayer, just being humble and asking. People say you can summon these things. We have no power over that. You can't summon anything, but if you humble yourself and ask in prayer, it'll come.
So can you show me some of these pictures?
Okay, so let's go and take me there. There's the Capitol. You see that flying out?
So that dot?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know it's an orb and not like something else?
Well, we've seen them a lot. It's very respectful in the way it engages.
It's respectful.
Well, so what happens is, so sometimes it starts out very light and slight, but then when people get more engaged and excited and don't seem nervous, they'll be large, they'll change colors.
And you guys saw this just like right over
Last night,
the
yes.
Capitol Dome last night.
Yeah.
And then another one appeared.
Peggy, Bear, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Peggy, Bear, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay.
And then they began to sort of move, and they would merge in with each other, and then they would split. And so just sort of creating these different formations. But what seemed to be fairly consistent was this sort of triangular shape of 3.
Orbs merely notice who they are not by observing it elsewhere in the contextual field. Your own planet, in fact, is one to which highly evolved beings look if they seek a contrasting field. As they do so, they are reminded of how it was when they experienced what you are now experiencing, and they thus form an ongoing frame of reference through which they may know and understand what they are now experiencing. Do you now understand why Hebs do not require evil or negativity in their own society?
Yes, but why then do we require it in ours?
You do not. That is what I've been telling you throughout this whole dialogue. You do have to live within a contextual field within which that which you are not exists, in order for you to experience that which you are. This is the universal law, and you cannot avoid it. Yet you are living in such a field right now. You do not have to create one. The contextual field in which you are living is called the universe. You do not have to create a smaller contextual field in your own backyard. This means that you can change life on your planet right now and eliminate all that you are not without endangering in any way your ability to know and experience that which you are.
Wow, this is the greatest revelation in the book. What a way to end it. So I don't have to keep calling forth the opposite in order to create an experience.
Amazing. I gotta move around the tripod here.
She had blonde hair and the most dazzling blue eyes I had ever seen. I realized she only seemed tall because of the angle I saw her from. She must have been 4.5 or 5 feet tall at the most. My sense of calm deepened as I looked into her eyes. "You know why I'm here." Her lips hadn't moved as she spoke in a high, clear voice. I knew what she meant, and a wave of embarrassment, remorse, and sorrow overtook me. I had vowed to abandon whatever path she had set me on just 5 hours beforehand. Here to offer me a way forward, to show me that these tribulations had not been in vain. There was a subtle dance of meaning that had been playing out over the years that led to this night. I had to trust that revelations like these could not be delivered all at once in blinding clarity. Otherwise, they would be rejected or ignored. "You cannot quit now. You made an agreement that must be kept." I was in total awe of her. It was clear she was director of all that had happened. In a trance-like state, I could not move and didn't want to. She communicated to me that the orbs, the beings, the missing time were all tools she had been using. She talked of the beings as guardians she sent to do her bidding, of my apocalyptic visions as a possible future for Earth, of our agreement requiring absolute trust in her. She vowed that if I continued on this mission, she would protect my family and me. She would allow the orbs to be photographed, and she would allow me to show these phenomena to witnesses outside of my family. If I continued to talk about what I saw, she said that she would never leave my side. I was overwhelmed with gratitude for this protection and assurance. For long portions of her disclosure, she raised her pointer finger up to her lips as though she were telling me to keep a secret or be quiet, and I could not understand what she was saying. Afterwards, she said that I would be able to understand what she had said when the time came. I asked her what the lump of living fur was that I had been given. She said it was an icon of humanity, directionless, senseless, without head or tail, in dire need of protection and guidance. Toward the end, she conveyed the importance of my visitations. She warned that there were forces at work to cast phenomena like this in a negative light, and that if this view won out, humanity would be set on a path to ruin. She said that my work was to prevent this dangerous deception from taking root. She did not tell me why, but I had been chosen to tell humanity of the phenomena's benevolence. The first step in this work was the simple acknowledgement of what I saw. A new knowledge must arrive. Mankind must awaken to it. After 20 or 30 minutes on my knees listening to her, I was disoriented and totally drained of energy. When she finished talking, her halo of light drew back into her, and she vanished. I asked her what the lump of living fur was that I had been given. She said it was an icon of humanity, directionless, senseless, without head or tail, in dire need of protection and guidance. Toward the end, she conveyed the importance of my visitations. She warned that there were forces at work to cast phenomena like this in a negative light, and that if this view won out, humanity would be set on a path to ruin. She said that my work was to prevent this dangerous deception from taking root. She did not tell me why, but I had been chosen to tell humanity of the phenomena's benevolence. The first step in this work was the simple acknowledgement of what I saw. A new knowledge must arrive. Mankind must awaken to it. After 20 or 30 minutes on my knees listening to her, I was disoriented and totally drained of energy. When she finished talking, her halo of
if anybody's read this book, realize and watched any podcast that I've done over the last 5, 6 years, I've been saying the whole time that these orbs are going to come and wake us up. And I even gave specific times that when that might happen, and that's when you see war between Israel and Iran. I put that in the book. So what Bertie was saying about their alarm, they are really alarmed. The orbs, to me, they're angels to me. They're biblical, just like you said, Jim. They're magical beings. They don't breed like humans. They were created. They listen to our thoughts. I interact with them every day of my life and have literally tens of thousands of bits of data and information from them. And when I interact with them, they're speaking to me. How do you get them to come? Because they listen to me and they send information. Whatever they're doing, the drones, the orbs are coming on high alert. It's just like the Foo Fighters in World War II. When the fighters were going into Germany, these orbs were beside them. So that's just my opinion that the orbs are on high alert, that whatever the drones are doing, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're looking for something, sniffing for nuclear material. That would clearly explain why the orbs are coming in great numbers. And they're not going to stop. They're going to keep coming until everyone understands that we're not alone and that this confusing it with the drone thing and with something terrestrial, here has got to end. Everybody's going to awaken to a truth between now and 2026.